again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again.
A little drop of milk there.
Some sunny day.
And, favourite drink of the British, the tea. Should I say the English, I suppose. Not sure all Brits are very fond of tea. What's up, KGS? Headmaster here. Just having my afternoon tea back in the 40s. Throwback Thursday. Now, I'm sure you can pick lots of anachronistic mistakes with my room, but I've done my best at short notice to deliver a 1940s tea. I've got a bit of cake on the go that's got no butter, no eggs. I've got my tea, and I'll say a bit more about that in a minute. And of course, I've got my bunting. I'm preparing to celebrate VE Day 75. So here's to you. Oh, that's a lovely cup of tea. Let's start with our shout-outs today. So we've got Teddy Warner's birthday today. Teddy Warner in the 3rd year. Many happy returns, Teddy. And then nobody's birthday on the 8th or the 9th, but on the 10th, we've got a whole host of birthdays. Who have we got? We've got Alex and Danny in the upper 6th. We've got Hannah in the 2nd year. And we've got Chris in the lower 6th. So many happy returns to all of you. Whether it's today or whether it's Sunday, hope you have a wonderful day. Hope you get to spend great time with your families over this bank holiday, this VE Day celebration, 75th anniversary celebration weekend. Hope you get to touch base with your friends, and as ever, because it's your birthday, I hope that it brings everything that your hearts desire. Then let's Throwback Thursday. So let's talk a little bit about the war. Firstly, cake, as I said, rationing. You did get 1 egg a week. You did get some powdered egg as well, and you got a little bit of butter, but you certainly wouldn't waste those on baking a cake, a luxury like cake. That cake will be made without eggs, without butter, into a kind of batter, so it's kind of slightly gooier, harder, but still nevertheless it's an incredibly tasty cake. So I'm really enjoying this. Tea, no worries there. In 1942, England, Britain bought up the world's supply of tea. The only tea they couldn't get hold of was tea in Japan, for obvious reasons. But they got hold of the world's supply of tea, which is quite incredible. It just tells you how ingrained that was in the English consciousness. It was then and has been ever since. What else? There was obviously clothes rationing, but you guys would have been all right because younger people got an extra supply of clothes rations because they were growing. So us oldies, we had to make do amends, whereas you guys got plenty of clothes to kind of see you through the war and beyond. Speaking of the war, evacuation and children, Kingston was the last London borough to evacuate children. Didn't evacuate until 1944. Quite incredible there. Until then, you were just watching the bombs go off in other parts of London. So, but in 1944, you would have been evacuated, probably returning in kind of late 45, maybe early 46. Although some of you might not have gone. Your families might have said at that point, you know what, let's not let them go. Going back to clothes, of course, women still like to look glamorous. I mean, Mrs. Lehex put together this fabulous tea for me today. She would have liked to have looked her best during the war. So she'd have popped off, if she had a few pennies in her purse, to somewhere like Max Factor, where they painted women's legs to make it look like they had stockings on. Kind of early version of the fake tan, if you like. And if they were at the Max Factor shop or similar, they'd have used one of their products to paint a line down the back of the leg to make it look like a stocking seam. But you know what? If you didn't have the money to do that, it was fine. You just got a friend to mix up a bit of gravy and use a gravy line down the back of the legs, which was fine if you just had your Sunday roast and had a bit of gravy left over and you were popping out into town or for a drink or something, and you just paint a gravy line down the back of your legs and hope that it didn't smell too bad. So there were lots of different things going on. And of course, lots of links with Kingston Grammar School. I've talked about Kingston being evacuated in 1944. We've got Sir Gerald Gibbs, who was an Air Chief Marshal who he commanded the Indian Air Force during World War II. He was an ace fighter pilot himself, but he commanded the Indian Air Force. I can't tell you how many planes they had or how many Indian pilots there were. That's something I've not been able to discover just yet. But if you want to know a little bit about history, a little bit about World War II and Kingston Grammar School, you can pop and see there's a great guy called Terry Charman. He's senior historian at the Imperial War Museum. He's an old Kingstonian as well. As was R.C. Sheriff, who we know wrote the screenplay for Dam Busters. That might have been the tune you didn't get the other day, the one right at the end, where I said, pretend to be an airplane. That was kind of the Dam Busters theme tune, and R.C. Sheriff wrote the screenplay for that. So loads of links with World War II and the school and our alumni. And of course, I'm sure you've all seen the memorial in school. You've got the marble bit in the centre commemorating World War I, and you've got the wooden plaques on the outside commemorating World War II. I'm going to finish on my quote, which is going to be the very obvious Winston Churchill talking about the Battle of Britain when he said, "Never in the field of human conflict has so much been owed by so many to so few." And the reason for mentioning that quote is because actually it's quite apt in this day and age that rarely do the many owe such a great debt of gratitude to the few. And where we are obviously in lockdown, where we're thinking about World War II and the debt we owe to those previous generations, where we're thinking about specifically the Battle of Britain or some other field of conflict, whether we're thinking about where we are now with lockdown and the COVID crisis and all the work of our frontline workers, our key workers, and particularly the NHS. It's rare that so many of us owe so much, but you'll be stepping out of your houses at 8 o'clock tonight and giving them a huge clap and a cheer, banging your saucepans and kind of racking your tambourines. But we'll be doing that because an enormous number of us owe that debt of gratitude to those few who are kind of being so selfish, selflessly giving up their time rather to kind of look after everybody in society. So have a great VE Day celebrations. Join me for the quiz tonight at 4 p.m. But have a great long weekend as well. Keep looking after yourselves, looking after your family, being kind to your friends. Keep working well, keep being well, and of course, as ever, keep being happy. What ho, guys? Headmaster out.